Good afternoon. I'm Khaldoun Bentarit, founder and president of the Université Tunis Carthage. We are very pleased that all of you are here to join us for this historic moment, the launch of the partnership between UTC and NCUK, the consortium of United Kingdom universities. This consortium was established in 1987 and continues to develop and grow, which you will learn more about it in a few moments from the NCUK representatives attending our launch today. We are proud to bring this opportunity for high-quality international education to students in Tunisia and in the region. We are also very proud to be recognized as the only institution in Tunisia to partner with the NCUK programs. It is now my privilege to welcome our esteemed guests from the government, from the UTC Board of Advisors, and our partner embassies. It is truly an honor to have a special guest with us today to help us celebrate this launch, Ambassador Edward Ogden, Ambassador of the United Kingdom in Tunisia. Ambassador Ogden has served his country for a number of years in a variety of places, both at home and abroad. Tunisia is very lucky to have him here now, representing a country that is an important partner in our future, especially since he is very interested in and involved with improving access to education. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Ogden to UTC. Thank you.
مساء الخير على السلامة. شكرا جزيلا لدعوتكم الكريمة. احنا فرحان برشا بوجودنا في جامعتكم تونس كارتاج في هذا الافتتاح المهم. That's probably about as much of the Arabic language as you would like me to inflict on you this afternoon. Thank you very much for your very kind introduction. It is true that I do actually spend a lot of time thinking about education. I've been looking forward to this event, which has had to be postponed a number of times because of the health crisis, for a while. Because one of the very, very few things that keep me awake at night is actually thinking, okay, in 15 years' time, what will it be that connects the next generation, I would say not just in Tunis, but of this region, with the United Kingdom? So in my sort of checkered career in the past, I've been ambassador in the UAE, in Jordan. I've served pretty well all over the Arab world in one way or another. And it's very clear to us now, it has been very clear to us over the last 40, 30, 20 years, what our two countries have got in, what our two regions have got in common. There's a lot of history, there's a lot of culture. It's quite instinctively, people in Britain know what the Gulf, know what the Levant, know what the northern part of Africa represents for the UK, and why their success is important to the UK's future, and vice versa. So my concern is, well, what about the next 20, 30, 40 years? And if you take a 16, 17, 18-year-old British youth, be it a boy or we hope increasingly young women, when they think about Tunisia, what do they think? Do they think about it as a beautiful beach in Sousse, where I'm going in a couple of days to mark the sad anniversary of the attack 6 years ago? Do they think of it as the amazing wildlife reserve in Ncuk Is? Or do they think of it as a platform for the delivery of high value-added services in financial services, in healthcare, in education, across the region, both back into the south of Europe and into Africa? And there was a big conference, I think, earlier this morning, which looked at Tunisia's role as a gateway into Africa. And where is it that, therefore, how can our two countries best interlock? And when you ask young people in both the UK and Tunisia, what are your priorities? You know, they will say, number one, again and again and again and again, job, 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 job. And understandably, I mean, you know, didn't we all? But it's now so much harder. And so how can our education prepare us for that? And it's not just, you know, a bilateral market between the UK and Tunisia, it's the global market. How can our education prepare us to participate in that global market? And it seems to me that this sort of partnership is representative of what the answer to that can become. When I was in, let's say, in Abu Dhabi, can you all hear me if I don't have the microphone in front of me? So when I was in Abu Dhabi in the early, mid, 2006-07, what they were looking at was, can a university come and set up physically? Can Oxford University come and physically build a campus in Abu Dhabi? And it was sort of the sort of thing it had been done. Nottingham was very successfully in Malaysia and so forth, but it didn't happen very often. But it became very quickly clear that actually what the future of education was not physically bringing an institution and establishing a physical campus. It was setting up networks. And if there is one point which, just wondering what's happened to our NCUK colleagues, turned off in disgust. But if there is one thing which this partnership represents, it's the power of networks. And they can be networks at every level, where there are networks of research, where increasingly researchers will need international expertise. It's no good just having national data. I mean, I've just actually curiously been doing it this morning with the Ministry of Health. How can we use our common sequencing data on C19 to strengthen our respective responses as the disease develops and as the variants constantly mutate and therefore constantly need a different sort of vaccine to, well, not constantly, but will need different sorts of vaccine to new to them. And how can we, through these networks, as we come down from the research level, how can you join up? How can you help students in whatever part of it is of the UK, whatever part it is of Tunisia? And if I might say here, I think it's really important that it is not just students in Tunis, but from students from all over the country, wherever they're sitting, and I know you do have students from all over the country here, and that is really important. How do you give them a mobility which enables them to access international opportunities and access those international networks? And how do you prepare them for the job market so that, as far as possible, despite the fact that international requirements, employers' requirements, are changing all the time, you keep up with that curve, and so that you can take advantage of the technology, so that if, for example, you come from, let's say you are a young woman about age 20, 22, 23, in a conservative part of this country, you can get your qualifications, stay at home, look after your family, fulfill your role. But when the children have gone to bed, you can go online and you can provide a service to somebody sitting in, whatever other part of the world it is, just as easily as somebody sitting in, Dubai or London or wherever it may be. How do we use the technology, and how do we use our education to prepare people to use that technology in a way which can draw our young people in from all over our respective countries into the job market? And people sometimes say, what is the point of an embassy these days, in the days of modern communications? And it struck me, just thinking about it, that the purpose of the UK, of an embassy, is very similar to that of NCUK in many ways. We act as a docking mechanism. So you have in the embassy case, you have ministers, for example, or senior leaders. We had just had a defence chief yesterday, a minister the day before. The week before. They come in, they have maybe 2 days in the country, and they have to meet a whole variety of people. And our job is to make sure that they meet them quickly and that they have a meaningful conversation first time round. With NCUK, it's not that different. So you have your students who are coming in, they need to be prepared to go into a university in the UK or in Australia or Canada or the top universities around the world. And they need to be plugged in quickly, and so that they can then go on and prepare themselves and be able to quickly connect with with employers, again, sort of internationally. And it seems to me the power of these networks and the power of embassies, NCUK, the power of people who do that, act as that docking mechanism, is really important, because it's even the best academic institutions in the world, if they produce students who, at the end of their 3 years, 4 years, or even the best schools, they produce students aged 17 or 18, or at the best at the time, they go through a whole education system, they think, I've done my primary, I've done my secondary, I've passed my exams, and now what? And I can't get to the university I want to go to in whichever country it is, here or it's the same in the UK. I can't get to the university I want to in the UK or elsewhere. They feel real resentment. They feel alienated from the system. And more to the point, they haven't got a job and they can't support their family. So how can we make it easy for them to get from school into university, or into tertiary education, and from that tertiary education into a job? And that is, to me, the biggest challenge in many ways that the educational sector faces now. You're all really good, and we're all really good as societies at the academic bit, but how does one make the join? And it's really difficult, and if there were a quick way of doing it, then it would easily have been discovered. And I was very interested to see, Mr. Lumi, it's just really important that business and the top end of business is advising universities on what business needs and how do you get yourselves into a sort of an entrepreneurial mindset so that you are producing the sort of students that business wants. And this partnership seems to me a really good example of that. And I'm just really excited by what it can produce, because it's joining up not just the UK and Tunisia, but it's joining the sort of, 54 countries in which, 54 institutions with which NCUK sort of partners, with partners all over the world. And that is something that I would just sort of say from observation over the last 10, 15 years. We haven't been brilliant, or haven't always been brilliant at in the UK. We have a, if I may say, with all due modesty, national modesty, we have a really, really powerful education sector. We've got the, you know the statistics for all the top 10 universities in the world, 35 of the top 200, and so on and so forth. And if I may say, also really good in the sort of 300s, 400s, where you've got your very highly qualified technical universities. But what we haven't always done is been good at making the join. And I think that this partnership will be really important in doing that. So, as a means of joining up young Tunisian men and women with British and vice versa, I think it's really important. As a means of getting those respective groups of people into the job market, it's really important. And I certainly undertake to give it all of the sort of backing that we can from the embassy's point of view to help it forward. I'm just very sorry that John Brewer hopefully is sort of sitting behind the screen there and can come and talk to us a bit. Otherwise, I will talk a bit about sort of NCUK on his behalf. But I'm assuming that behind the Houses of Parliament there is a beating heart of NCUK. But thank you all for listening to me, and congratulations on this great project, and I really wish you all every success with it going forward. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine. Ambassador Oakton, I can assure you that as a marathon runner, my heart is beating very well at the moment, as of course, more importantly, is the heart of NCUK. Ambassador, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, Minister Oruda, Minister Salaruti, and distinguished guests, as the Chief Executive of NCUK, it's my great honour to be speaking to you at today's launch of this historic partnership between NCUK and the University of Tunisia, Carthage. As the Ambassador has said, I'm only sorry that the current circumstances with the global pandemic prevent me and my colleagues from being with you in person. NCUK has been educating young people around the world for over 30 years. Indeed, like UTC, we were established in 1988. And in that time, we're very proud of the fact that over 35,000 of our students have used their NCUK qualifications to gain access to study at many of the very best universities in the world. Many of you may be wondering what NCUK stands for. I'll tell you, it stands for Northern Consortium UK. And it's a name which reflects the fact that NCUK was established by a relatively small group of leading universities in the north of the UK, all of which guarantee a place to students with an NCUK qualification so that they can study in the UK at a top quality university. But over 30 years later, like yourselves, we've changed, we've grown. And our partner universities are not just in the north of the UK, they are all over the country, including the south of England and close to where I'm speaking to you from in London. But they're also not just in the UK. Our qualifications are recognised around the world by universities in areas that include North America, Australia and New Zealand. And of course, we retain very close links with our founding university partners, many of whom are members of the leading Russell Group of elite universities in the UK. And all of them offer the very highest standards of teaching, of learning, research, and very importantly, in my view, student support. We work very closely with our university partners to ensure that our NCUK qualifications are of the very highest standard. And as Ambassador Oakton has said, they don't just equip people for further education, they also equip them for their future careers. The majority of NCUK students who go to university gain either a first-class degree or an upper second-class honours degree. And that's something which we are particularly proud of. But of course, going to university is not just about getting a good degree. It's also about gaining independence and becoming a global citizen of society. With their excellent qualifications, our students consistently get great jobs and long and fulfilling careers in areas such as education, medicine, business and technology. As we have seen only too well in the last 18 months, education really is the key to producing the next scientists, researchers, nurses, doctors and politicians who are crucial if we are to help the world to cope with crises of the future, such as global pandemics. At NCUK, above all else, we place our students at the very heart of all that we do. We ensure that our qualifications are relevant and of the highest possible standard. And we only work with partners such as yourselves, who we know will deliver the best possible teaching and learning experience for our students. Although I've never been able to visit your campus, I do feel as if I already know it from your excellent website, and I'm particularly impressed with your outstanding facilities and laboratories, and also that all of your first-year students have a personal counsellor who supports them with their studies and their lifestyles. Ambassador Oakley, as you said earlier, I hope that this partnership further strengthens ties between Tunisia and the United Kingdom, and that it is the start of even more cooperation and trade between our two great countries. Mr. President, thank you and your team for all of the hard work that has gone into making today's historic partnership happen. And my team and I at NCUK look forward to working with you, your team at the University of Tunisia, Carthage, and most importantly, your students for very many years to come. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andy. Thank you very much for the very warm welcome. It is disappointing we can't be there in person, but it really does feel like we are already part of the UTC family. So thank you very much for all of the hard work pulling this together, and most of all, thank you to all of the distinguished guests for taking the time out to listen to us today and hopefully learn about the fantastic opportunities that Tunisians will have from September and for many years to come. I'm also joined, as we've heard, by my colleague Nico, who works hand in hand with myself in really supporting sort of the implementation of this new project, and both of us are very much excited to be coming out to Tunisia when we can, to obviously meet all of the colleagues at UTC and also meet some very ambitious new students as well. Nico, do you want to say anything briefly?
No, it's very kind for your introduction. I think that's and thank you very much for your introduction, YG, as well. It's a pleasure to be developing a partnership with Tunisia and with UTC especially. I just like Andy look forward to actually coming to visit you and meet you face to face and in person.
Perfect. Now, obviously, the wonders of technology, we are joining you virtually here, but Nico and I are actually in two completely separate locations here in the UK. So we will do our best to run through just a short presentation to really sort of highlight and give you a little bit more information on exactly what all of this is about, and more importantly, how our qualifications are going to help many students in the years to come. So next slide, please, Nico.
Hopefully the technology will actually work. And I trust 1J to actually let us know if it doesn't.
Okay, perfect. So we'll be briefly covering what NCUK is and how we work with our delivery partners across the world. We will be briefly touching upon how the partnership works actually between NCUK and UTC. Obviously, as part of Nico's job, it is working with Cheryl and the wider academic team at UTC to make sure that everything academically is implemented how we expect it to be. We will then be covering in the main qualification that we are introducing in September, which is our International Foundation Year, which will benefit students coming from the Tunisian BAC or IGCSE. We will also very briefly touch upon some of the other qualifications that we are planning to bring in. This includes our Master's Preparation Programme, which will actually benefit UTC bachelor students who are looking to perhaps study a master's degree here in the UK or elsewhere. We will also be briefly touching upon scholarships and also the NCUK Prize Awards. We do understand fully that the cost of studying internationally can be quite burdensome for families and students, but hopefully allowing flexibility for students to start their degree programme with UTC at their wonderful campus in Tunis will help at least ease some of that burden. And we will also be touching very briefly on the fantastic work opportunities that international students now have in the UK. It hasn't always been the case, but the UK government did fairly recently introduce some wonderful new opportunities for students to actually stay in the UK for a period of time after they graduate and obviously fully immerse themselves within the UK, enhance their experience and also allow themselves to get some fantastic work experience for hopefully a lengthy career as well. Next slide, please. So we've got a very short video which will hopefully give you a very brief introduction as to what NCUK does. Now, that might be a slightly cheesy video, but it really does encapsulate how we do work with our study centres across the world, and most importantly with our ever-growing network of students that study with us on an academic yearly basis. So we do offer a range of qualifications. As we've mentioned, we've got our foundation year qualification, we've got our year one programme, which are both undergraduate programmes for students, but we do also have a range of postgraduate qualifications as well to help students who are looking to study at master's level. We are brand new in Tunisia. It is very exciting for us to be establishing a brand new partnership in a new market for NCUK, but we are very experienced in delivering our qualifications with our, again, growing number of study centres across the world. All in all, we've actually now got close to 90 partnerships across the world, and any one given year we've got anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 students studying with us. So we are brand new in Tunisia, but we are very experienced in making sure that international students have a great experience with us, as well as obviously getting to the university that they want to go to. Nico, I don't know if you want to summarise that.
No,
okay. Perfect.
You've said it all, I think.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so just to sort of give you a very top level overview, we're looking to introduce 3 qualifications over the next 12 to 18 months. We've got our International Foundation Year, which is designed to take students from the Tunisian Baccalaureate or IGCSE, for example, or lots of different qualifications from across the continent, and it will give them direct entry into the first year of a UK degree programme or another degree programme internationally. It is a really academically rigorous qualification, so though it is only taught over a 9-month period, an independent governmental study here in the UK did actually equate that our 9-month International Foundation Year programme is actually comparable to a full 2-year A-level programme, which again, I think really does demonstrate how well together the programme is comprised. And it is also important to note that all of our universities do have very real input into each and every one of our qualifications, which is why we are able to offer the guarantee, which is what John was alluding to slightly earlier. We also have our International Year 1 qualification. Now, this particular qualification is equivalent to the first year of a UK degree. So obviously a UK degree traditionally is 3 years in length, or there are some which are 4 years with an inbuilt master's. And this qualification is actually enabling Tunisian students to start on their degree programme with UTC before getting advanced and guaranteed entry into the second year of a degree programme internationally. This programme really is designed not only for the foundation year students once they graduate that level, but it also opens up the opportunity to those French baccalaureate students who may also be considering coming to study in the UK or Canada for a degree programme. So this really is just allowing students to begin their degree, obviously saving quite a significant amount of money in terms of not only the tuition fees, but also the living costs by making a start on their degree programme in Tunisia. We do also have a master's preparation qualification, which is really designed to help improve a student's, or certainly sort of hone their skills in terms of research, analytical skills, anything like that. It really is designed to help students get sort of transition from their Tunisian degree into a sort of a British sort of way of thinking academically as well. Next slide, please, Nico. We are going to be focusing mainly on our International Foundation Year. The International Foundation Year, as we've mentioned, will take students directly from their Tunisian BAC or IGCSE. They will study with UTC from September for 9 months. They will take their final exams next June and will hopefully be progressing either onto the International Year 1 or internationally next September. As we've mentioned, it does get students directly into the first year of a UK degree programme, for example, exactly the same as what a 2-year A-level programme would, for example. So there really is no sort of differentiation from a quality point of view, and it certainly is highly valued by each and every one of our university partners. Next slide, please. So students will usually be at least 17 years of age, but we do have lots of options for students who are coming into us at the age of 16. Certainly in my 7 or 8 years at NCUK, we do seem to be seeing students are even more talented at an even earlier age and seem to be completing all sorts of qualifications at earlier periods to maybe what it was 10 years ago. So it is important to note that there are options for students who might be coming into us at the age of 16 as well. We expect the majority of our students to be coming in from IGCSE or perhaps US high school, as well as the Tunisian high school baccalaureate certificate as well. But there are many qualifications that we can admit students in from across Africa. One of the sort of reasons that we were very keen to work with UTCR is that they already attract a huge range of students from across the continent as well, and we really see UTC as being a potential hub for us and you know, enabling more students from not just Tunisia to benefit from the qualifications. All of the qualifications are taught in English as well. That is important to note, and students will be expected to take an English test at the beginning of the programme, but again, UTC and admissions there will be able to support students all the way through that. In terms of how it looks, students will study 3 academic modules. Naturally, the academic modules that students study will have quite a big say in terms of the type of degree programme that a student will then progress onto. So, for example, if a student wants to go into engineering, for example, naturally they'll be expected to study some mathematics, some physics, but equally we do also have a range of other pathways in humanities, in business, and of course in medicine as well. So again, it is important to state that students don't have to know exactly what degree programme they want to go onto from the offset. We will give full support to students to really help counsel them through that process. Each of our qualifications also has an English for academic purposes inbuilt module as well. This is a critical module within each of the qualifications. Essentially, it will not only help students improve their academic English and certainly how they put themselves across in an academic setting, you know, giving them things like, you know, helping them with their research methodology, analytical skills, also discussing everything from plagiarism to referencing as well. But crucially, it will also allow students to gain a certificate which can be used for visa purposes, which again, obviously is an integral part of an international student's journey, is getting that visa. So it is a very important component of not only the International Foundation year, but each of the academic qualifications we will be introducing. Next slide, please. Now, arguably, most importantly, these are our pathway universities. So there are a number of universities here who have worked with us since the very beginning, but equally, as John mentioned during his words slightly earlier, we are expanding this group almost constantly, to be honest. There are more and more universities that are coming to form part of the NCUK consortium of universities. We do have a lot of universities in the UK, naturally. Many of them are very highly ranked. In total, we've actually got 9 universities in the QS World Top 100, which is obviously allowing students to go to genuinely world-class universities. But we do also have a number of universities who are leading within certain faculty areas. I do always like to mention the likes of the University of Bradford or Manchester Metropolitan University, who each have triple-star accredited status for their business schools. And that actually places their business schools within the top 2% of business schools globally. So each of our universities really do have different unique selling points. And again, it is part of being an NCUK student with UTC that we will talk students through these wide variety of options so that students can make the very best decision for them and their families. Next slide, please. As you'd expect, working with so many universities, there are literally thousands of degree programs available. On NCUK's website, we have something called the University Course Finder, which really does list genuinely every degree that students can progress onto from our pathway qualifications. All in all, there are now over 4,000 different degrees which are available. Obviously, this is a great choice for students. Many of the degree programs available will be speciality type subjects, very niche, which again will help differentiate the student in the job market. And a lot of the degrees available will simply maybe not be available within the local higher education setting as well. So that can be an interesting opportunity for students. Crucially, this course finder also gives students a huge amount of transparency because it tells students exactly what they need to get on the pathway qualifications to get entry into one of those universities. Equally, it is important to note that we know that some students do want to study at universities outside of NCUK. They are still free to apply to those universities, and many students do progress outside of the network on a yearly basis. We just can't guarantee that that particular university will articulate the programme, but there is a full list on our website of universities who have accepted applications over the past number of years. Next slide, please. I do also want to spend just a brief couple of moments talking about our medical and dentistry routes. When I'm on the road, there are often two things that students and parents will come up to me and speak about. They'll say, Andy, we want to be a doctor, we want to study medicine, or we want to get a scholarship. So this is sort of highlighting the first of those questions. Our International Foundation year is recognised by a number of universities on the screen there now, who will admit students directly into their first year of their medical degree programme. This is quite a unique selling point for our own foundation year because generally speaking, foundation years are not always accepted into medicine or dentistry, but as you can see, there are actually a range of different options available to students. Next slide, please. And just to sort of, again, highlight some top-level statistics, we've got a genuinely very broad range of students studying with us, typically over 100 nationalities studying every year, which again is, as the ambassador highlighted, is allowing students to join quite a vast network of potential colleagues or people to trade with or people to network with in the future. So it is a genuinely sort of borderless organisation, NCUK really, so students will be joining that. As I've mentioned, visa is very important, and over 99% of our students on a yearly basis are successful in getting their visa. It's obviously critical. 90% of our students are successful in getting into their first choice university. Again, I think this is always an important point because we do want to genuinely help students get to where they want to go. That's why we exist as an organisation. So the vast majority of our students are successful in doing that. And I think this also highlights how much the universities themselves actually sort of appreciate and recognise the strength of NCUK qualifications as well. Most importantly, given the investment that students will be making in their families, in the education, in their degree programme, 4 out of every 5 of our students are successful in getting either a first or a second class degree programme, degree classification once they graduate from university as well. I think this really does show how well prepared our students are for their university venture. The fact that, again, the vast majority of them are coming out with very good degrees, which can only help in securing further employment. Next slide, please. We do have some scholarships available, so fear not, this photograph was taken pre-pandemic, before the 2-metre rule was in place. This is just a typical example of the NCUK Prize Awards that we hosted. This particular event was in Manchester in 2019. And again, this just recognises the very best of our students from across the world. Next slide, please. Our universities themselves also have a wide range of scholarships available. I have listed some of them on the screen there now, but this is not an extensive list. We do have a scholarship section on our website where students can learn about the vast number of scholarships which are available at each and every one of the universities. Some of them are academic merit-based, so obviously the better the student performs on the qualification, the more likely it would be to open up those opportunities. But equally, there are also quite a lot available which are automatic. So simply put, if you apply for a university, you get the grades, you get admission, you will automatically be awarded with some form of scholarship in the form of fee reductions, either for that first year or even for every year that you're studying with that particular university. It is important to note that yes, students want to go to the best universities, but equally the universities also want to recruit the best students as well. Next slide, please. Just coming towards an end now. The other thing I really want to highlight is the level of support that our students will get, not only from UTC colleagues, so the academic colleagues, Cheryl and her team, as well as the counsellors on the ground who will be talking to the students throughout the year, all of the crucial application windows for making that what can be quite a burdensome sort of thought process in applying to university. We do take all of that stress away really by providing, you know, support right from when they start with us in September, right through to hopefully when they're boarding an aeroplane to move abroad next summer. And these are what some of our previous students have said. And again, Nicole, the student in the middle, studied with our Peruvian partner. And again, she's really highlighting that the level of student support she received was a vital part of her journey. It's also a great for students to demonstrate the diversity that we have in terms of degree subjects as well, with 3 very, very different degree subjects from, you know, fashion to real estate planning to electrical engineering. Again, I think it really does demonstrate the level of choice that UTC-NCUK students will have. And we'll just play a very short video.
It has been a wonderful experience with NCUK. They really prepared me for studying and living in the UK.
I feel that, you know, I've been amply prepared enough to face tackle challenges that university was to offer.
The NCUK really played a vital role in helping me apply for university.
It was a really good experience. My tutors were really helpful. Personally, I believe NCUK was one of the best decisions I made.
I received all necessary support.
And I'd highly recommend the NCUK program.
And you can go through the same successful path I did.
So they're just a selection of some of our ambassadors who were prize award winners with NCUK. But again, hopefully it gives you a good flavour that we do sort of offer a huge amount of support to students, and they are genuinely central to everything that we do. And again, for anybody that is interested in doing this, obviously, hopefully we will have some Tunisian ambassadors in the years to come. We do have a dedicated section on our website where students can actually go on there and chat to former NCUK students about their journey. They can ask all sorts of questions. Is British food that bad? Do we all eat fish and chips constantly? Is the weather that bad? Or they can ask things about what challenges did you have? You know, and really talk through what like-minded students who probably have a lot of the same questions that our ambassadors had when they were going through the same journey. So we always encourage student-to-student interaction as well. And finally, the last thing I do want to highlight, I did touch upon it slightly earlier, was that international students now have some fantastic opportunities here in the UK and beyond to really immerse themselves and make themselves extremely employable once they graduate. So not only are there a huge range of degree programs available which have incorporated work experience and industrial placements, but there is also a huge amount of opportunity for students after they graduate, which now allows, here in the UK, for example, international students after graduation can remain in the UK for up to 2 years, where they can travel or they can get more work experience, or they can actually apply for more permanent employment, obviously, if they do successfully meet the criteria set out by the visa, the UK VI here in the UK. There are also huge amounts of opportunities in Australia and New Zealand, as well as in Canada, for students to stay after they study as well. So the opportunities are very much there for students. It's just up to them really to really grasp them with both hands and hopefully set them on a pathway to success in the future. So hopefully, as I say, we will have an opportunity to come out and meet students, parents and colleagues in the room there today. And we do very much look forward to working with UTC and everybody associated on what will hopefully be another very successful venture for NCUK. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nico.
Pleasure, Andy. And apologies if I didn't come to summarize in French. I think that's something that I can always do. Donc pour votre information, si certaines personnes dans l'audience et dans l'assistance, et c'est là un des problèmes de pouvoir livrer des présentations en ligne, c'est qu'on ne peut pas vous voir et qu'on ne sait pas exactement s'il y a quoi que ce soit comme question. Si vous avez des questions qui soient en français, n'hésitez pas à me les poser. En résumé, la NCUK permet à vos enfants de pouvoir venir étudier en Grande-Bretagne l'équivalent de ce qu'on appelle un degree, voire d'un master à partir du baccalauréat ou même d'un système, je dirais, à la française au niveau éducatif. Donc, après le baccalauréat, et la première année que nous proposons avec l'année de fondation, l'équivalent d'une année de préparation, sur laquelle vous avez certainement l'habitude de voir dans un système plus à la française. Donc, une année de préparation suivie par 3 ans ou 4 ans d'études, soit en Grande-Bretagne, soit au Canada, soit en Australie, soit en Nouvelle-Zélande, voire même aux États-Unis. Si vous avez quoi que ce soit comme question par rapport à la structure du programme ou l'expérience pour vos enfants ou ce qu'il faut faire pour mettre en place, pour pouvoir étudier nos qualifications, n'hésitez pas à me poser des questions. I'll just stop talking French now, Andy, and if there are any questions, please feel free to ask us. I'll stop the presentation if that's okay. Thank you very much for your time. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention.
In the audience. If there are any questions basically in the audience, please feel free to ask them. Si vous avez des questions en français, en arabe, on peut même les traduire. Sinon, c'est bon? On passe? On passe? Oui. Yes, yes. Une minute.
When you had started, you've now got this series of relationships all over the world with universities feeding in through you to British universities. What is the biggest lesson you have learned that you would want to pass on to potential Tunisian students for how you can play a sort of crucial role? Now you're, whatever it is, 30 or 40 years into doing this, what are the big things that you have learned that would be of use to Tunisian students as they come to decide whether they should use this path or not? C'est clair? La question?
Sorry, the sound hasn't come back on yet. Not sure if we're missing anything.
I don't think I'm prepared to say it again. Right.
Okay, but Andy's turned off. Andy's sound is turned off.
All right. Okay, let me just try and do it again then, just in a short version. So NCUK now has existed for sort of 30 or 40 years. You have built up your networks all over the world of from which students feed into British and other universities. What are the big lessons you have learned that you can pass on to future Tunisian students about the particular sort of value add? I mean, if I may say so, the more I've kind of watched that introduction just now, the more I'm convinced that this is, it's a very good example of kind of the public and the private coming together. We do a lot of work with Tunisian educational institutions here, and I should have mentioned the British Council earlier on, with primary, with secondary, with the tertiary educational sector here, with governmental institutions. It's important that we bring in the private sector too, and that there be private sector provision as well as public sector provision, I think, in the UK certainly, but worldwide too. But I'd be interested from your university perspective, what are the key lessons that you have learned over your time that are relevant to Tunisian young men and women wondering whether to study or not?
Nico, do you want to take that one?
I was going to say, do you want me to pick that one? Well, I suppose it can be either. Well, it could probably be a very long answer, I'm afraid. And I'll carry on with in English unless you want me to actually clarify things in French. But my experience as working for NCUK previously and before working for NCUK, I've been working in and lecturing in higher education for the best part of 10-15 years now. And the best thing I can tell to students wanting to come and study in the UK, well, I am quite UK biased because my profile is very much, I was part of a French system and moved many moons ago. And what a British degree offers you is a way of actually developing yourself, not just in terms of your knowledge about the subject, it's also a development in terms of self-study, in terms of being, in terms of motivation, in terms of owning your own studies and becoming, I suppose, more mature and more responsible. What I've seen from lecturing and lecturing international students in the past was that they gain fantastic knowledge and experiences through the British degrees and through the studies offered in the UK. But very often, one of the things that was always difficult for my international students was to get used to British culture, but also to get used to the way of actually studying in an English environment. And for that, our programs are excellent. And you're going to say, yes, I'm biased because I work for NCUK, but I would say that it's very much the old lecturer that's speaking to you there. One of the main modules that we do offer is a module called EAP, and it's academic for academic purposes. And it's not about developing it's not only about developing and improving your level of English. It's also learning how to study in the British environment, how to actually be able to actually research, to reference, to be able to actually write academic work in a way that it really belongs to you, that makes knowledge develop and really prepares you better with being able to actually study when you actually come to your degree. So it's not about improving just your English language, but it's also developing your study skills. And that is very much essential. One thing I would say about our program, and it's sometimes because it's a one-year program, and for some reason, I think maybe because of the word foundation, some students might actually find it thinking it's a lesser program than A-levels or IB or baccalaureate, or it might be easy to do, but it's neither of those things. It's actually benchmarked against A-level and against qualification of the same level, and it is delivered over 9 months in a traditional way instead of A-levels, for example, that are being delivered over 2 years. So it is actually a very demanding, very intensive program. It will provide you with the same level of knowledge, and it's not an easy program. And one thing I would tell our colleagues in Tunisia and parents and students is that be ready to actually work really hard. But if you work really hard, what we can guarantee is actually a place in a good university, or at least to be able to study a degree of your choice. And one thing that is essential with NCUK is in terms of statistics, the level of success and good success. It's not just a case of being able to actually go through our qualification and get into some university. We get you to a university and you will actually get a very good achievement and very good success following that degree, which will actually prepare you very well for the world of employment or maybe for further studies if you want to. So this is, and I can promise you this was potentially my shortest answer as possible. And if you need any further information or if you want me to translate a few things in French, then I'm more happy to do so. Andy, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, from my point of view, sort of the main thing that I would encourage all students and their parents to do within the journey is just take full advantage of the opportunities that each and every one of the universities that work with NCUK have on offer, you know, everything from work. There are so many degree programs now which are giving students genuine exposure within the industry that they want to go into, which can be invaluable when it comes to not only achieving a brilliant degree, because you've got very real world examples to apply to your academic knowledge, but it will just make you so much more employable after you graduate. There are obviously hundreds of thousands of graduates every year across the world, millions of graduates going from all sorts of education systems. Students have to make themselves the most employable that they can. So I would really encourage work experience and industrial experience as being an integral part of the thought process. Two different answers, one from an academic, the other one from, a non-academic, I guess.
So thank you very much to Andy and Nico for joining us from far away, but we're happy to have you here. Andy mentioned that English will be a very important part of this program. And to go with the NCUK relationship and to benefit other students as well, we're starting a new English language program here. My fellow American, I'm very happy to introduce to you the person who will lead this program, Cheryl Meyer. Cheryl has been working in intensive English language programs at the university level for 25 years in the U.S. And so now she has come over here and is joining us, and we'll be starting the program that goes with the NCUK program, as well as we hope to bring in some other English language learners. So keep that in mind and watch for further developments on that front. So now here's Cheryl to tell you about it.
Can you hear me without the microphone back there? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, I'll keep it just in case. Let me know if you can't hear. First of all, bonjour à tout le monde, and good afternoon to everyone. First, I want to join others in thanking all of the special guests for being here today and just welcome you. I know it's, you all have busy schedules, so we do appreciate you being here. And especially for this exciting launch of the cooperation between UTC and NCUK. My name is Cheryl Meyer. I arrived in Tunis just 2 weeks ago today, so I have many things to learn. But it is a reminder to me of what students go through when they travel internationally. I've worked for many years with international students in the United States, and that's the reason we're here. I love working with students. I love helping them understand new cultures, language, the studies that they're going through, so this is an exciting opportunity for me. So I am thrilled at the opportunity to use my previous experience in the U.S. as an ESL instructor as well as an administrative director to establish and develop the UTC American Language School and the pathway programs with NCUK. Our vision for the school is to provide students with high quality, student-centered academic English training and preparation that will enable them to be admitted to highly selective English-speaking institutions of higher education around the globe. This goal and mission will be accomplished through three main objectives. First, we will offer both an intensive and semi-intensive curriculum along with the pathway program in partnership with NCUK, which you just learned about. So thank you, Nico and Andy, for that. The philosophy of instruction we will use will be student-centered and focused on using English authentically in realistic tasks and projects. The intensive and semi-intensive program will offer courses progressing from lower to higher levels focused on academic reading, writing, speaking, and listening, as well as preparation for academic studies by engaging students in research and critical thinking tasks, oral and written presentations, and group projects, as just a few examples. As you just learned, the Pathway program through NCUK will provide higher level English speakers an opportunity to continue to develop their English proficiency through academic content classes and academic English courses. Successful completion of the Pathway courses, as you've learned, will lead to guaranteed acceptance into one of the NCUK consortium universities. In addition to providing a rigorous curriculum with high standards for success, we will employ highly qualified and experienced instructors for the content modules as well as the English courses. They will have either graduate degrees in their respective areas of instruction or certification from reputable institutions. And finally, it's important to me and to UTC that the language program curriculum, the student services, and the administrative policies and procedures be established on best practices and high standards recognized by quality assurance entities. For this reason, the standards will be identified and established from the inception of the program, and they will be used as the foundation of the planning, implementation, development, and sustainability of the program. Again, I want to thank you for joining us today for this exciting new beginning, new opportunities for students that'll be offered by UTC and NCUK. And I look forward to meeting many of you shortly, and thank you again for your attendance.
Alors, Saadet Sefil, Votre Excellence, cher Président, chers membres du Board, chers invités, je suis très contente que vous ayez accepté d'honorer et de célébrer avec nous ce formidable moment. C'est un moment historique, comme l'a bien dit Sir Khaldoun. C'est vraiment un moment historique. Je pense que je suis très contente de le vivre, ce moment-là, parce que je pense que nous sommes les premiers en Tunisie à dresser ce pont entre l'Université Tunis-Carthage, ses étudiants, mais aussi tous les étudiants de la Tunisie et de toute la région, et même partout dans le monde. Tous les étudiants qui ont envie de réaliser un rêve et qui, tout a été dit dans ce qu'on a vu. Si je peux résumer, ce qu'offre ce programme, c'est une structure, c'est un encadrement, c'est une structure adéquate pour l'étudiant en amont et en aval, qui lui permet d'intégrer les plus grandes universités au monde, de réaliser son rêve. En aval, parce qu'il va trouver le soutien quand il arrive dans l'université d'accueil, et en amont, lorsqu'il démarre une prépa en Tunisie, à l'UTC, avec les programmes de NCUK, mais il sera dans une structure qui lui permet un encadrement personnalisé, un soutien formidable de la part des enseignants et de la part de tout le staff de l'UTC, et ça permet de rassurer aussi bien celui qui intègre une première année prépa pour intégrer un bachelor ou une licence à l'étranger, ou bien celui qui prépare un master. C'est exactement la même chose. Ces étudiants-là vont passer une année en Tunisie, ils vont être encadrés, ils vont acquérir toutes les compétences nécessaires pour réussir leur intégration par la suite dans le pays de leurs rêves et dans surtout l'université de leurs rêves. Et faire, parmi les 4000 diplômes qu'offre NCUK, le parcours dont ils ont toujours rêvé. Donc, je ne peux être que fière aujourd'hui d'être là. Merci de m'offrir cette opportunité de prendre le mot de la fin et de vivre ceci. Je pense qu'on va être les premiers à dresser ce pont et je pense qu'il y en aura d'autres probablement. Donc, je souhaite toute la réussite. Je suis doublement contente, et ce sera le dernier mot, doublement contente parce que nous sommes les premiers. Nous sommes les premiers et c'est le résultat de beaucoup d'efforts, d'années d'efforts, de quête de l'excellence. Et aujourd'hui, je suis contente. La deuxième raison, c'est que nous avons été choisis parce que, pas simplement, mais parce que nous offrons aujourd'hui toutes les conditions nécessaires pour que ces grandes universités nous fassent confiance. Pourquoi? Parce que nous avons un staff de qualité, des enseignants de qualité, un enseignement de qualité, des enseignants qui font de la recherche. Aujourd'hui on publie même dans les revues indexées classe A, ce qui n'est pas anodin. On a aussi tout un staff qui s'occupe du soutien et de l'encadrement personnalisé de l'étudiant et on l'accompagne pendant tout le parcours qu'il fait à l'UTC. Et c'est un encadrement personnalisé sur le plan, aussi bien sur le plan personnel, mais aussi sur le plan programmes, éducation, formation, etc. Et je pense que nos parcours, ce partenariat va donner encore plus de valeur et de crédibilité au diplôme de l'UTC. Et j'en suis fière de vous l'annoncer aujourd'hui. Donc je suis fière de participer à cette inauguration et j'espère qu'on fera un long chemin avec Ncuk et qu'il y aura d'autres collaborations, pourquoi pas. Merci d'être là, merci de votre présence. Alors maintenant, vous êtes invités à partager avec nous un buffet qui se trouve au hall. Donc on va fêter ça ensemble. Veuillez nous suivre.